All right, greetings. This is Brother Tabidi back with you. We're going to be doing some polygons today. We're going to be figuring out the sum of the polygon, the sum of the angles, and also if we're just trying to figure out what one angle represents. If we're given this figure right here, first of all, we want to step one. We want to classify what type of polygon it is. And if you see this chart I have down here, it shows how many sides represents what particular type of polygon. And so let's go ahead and count our sides so we can find out what polygon that we're actually dealing with. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so if we have 6 here, if we have 6, that represents hexagon, right? So we can go ahead and put hexagon. Okay. Now the next thing it says here, what is the sum of the angles here? Okay, so to figure out the sum, if especially if they haven't given us any figures here, any angle measurements here, what we want to do is we want to multiply the number of triangles by 180. So let's go ahead and do that. So the number of triangles, here's our formula for the number of triangles. We have n minus 2 times 180. And what that's saying is that when you count up the triangles, when you count up the sides and the number of sides, we have 6 sides. Well, 6 minus 2 is actually 4, right? 6 minus 2 is 4. And so what we're going to have is we're going to have 4 times 180. And that's going to tell us the sum of all of the angles here. So let's go ahead and do that. 180 times 4. 4 times 0 is 0. 8 times 4 is 32. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 3 is 7. So 720 is the sum of all of the angles. And then step 2 here says divide the result by the number of sides. And so our result was 720. And we have 6 sides, right? So that's what we're going to divide by. 6 goes into 7 one time. That's 6. 1, 2. That goes in there 2 times. Bring the 0 up. That's 120 degrees. And so now we have both of our answers. We have 720 for the sum of angles, and one angle is 120 degrees. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and do another one. All right, what I want you guys to do is go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to work this one out yourself. And I want you to give me 2 things. And one is just like I did before. I want to know the sum of the angle measurement of this particular shape, and also give me the measurement of one of the angles, just like we did before. So use the same pattern we used before. All right. So if you did this correctly, the first thing you want to do is classify the type of polygon. And to do that, we want to go ahead and number the sides here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. And so we're looking at 180 times 8, right? Because remember, 10 is actually considered a decagon, which is 10 sides here. However, the triangles are 8. The triangles are always 2 less than the sides. So our formula actually is n minus 2 times 180. And so anyway, when we multiply 180 times 8, let's go ahead and do that. We have 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 1 is 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We look at 1,440. Okay. And it says divide the result. So 4,440 is what we're dealing with as far as the degrees. And if we want to figure out the for one single angle, we're gonna have to divide by the sides, and we knew the size was 10, right? So we have 10 divided by 1440. You know that 10 goes into 14 one time, that's 10. That leaves us 44. It goes into there 4 times, that's 40. That leaves us 4 and 0. It goes into there 4 times. And so we have 144 represents one of a single angle here. And the sum of all the angles is 1,440. So if you got that, give yourself a round of applause. All right, we're going to do a different type of polygon. And in this particular one, they're giving us all of the angle measurements except for n right here. And so we need to figure out what n represents. Well, to figure that out, the first thing you want to do is classify the type of polygon we're dealing with. And so if you add, first of all, we're going to go ahead and add the sides up. So we're going to start here. So we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to go ahead and add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you remember, 7 is actually, that's a heptagon, which is 7. Okay, so 7 minus 2, right, times 180. That's going to give us what we're looking for here for the total amount, but that's not our total problem. So 7 minus 2, we know it's 5. And 5 times 180, if you do your math correctly, it is 900. Okay, so when we set up the equation, we're going to put the 900 right here, put the equal sign here. We're going to add up everything and put it there. And then we're going to say, since we're trying to figure out what n is, we're going to say n plus whatever the total of all of these numbers right here. When we add all those up, you add those up correctly, just for the sake of time, you should get 735. Okay. Now we have a simple equation with one variable. And so in this situation, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and say, what are our like terms right here and here? Negative 735, negative 735. Cross this out. That's 8, that's 10, that's 9, that's 10. So we have 5, we have 6, and we have 1. And so what we have is 165 degrees. And that's the answer we're looking for. All right, so it's just that simple. As long as you're following the pattern here, you're following the steps, you cannot go wrong. All right, go ahead and pause the video, and I want you guys to work this one out yourself. All right, let's go ahead and check your answers. So the first thing you should have done is classify the type of polygon we're dealing with. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and add the number of sides here. So we have, let's see here, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And remember, 5 sides means we have three triangles, right? Because, and if you look, 5 sides is actually a pentagon, which is right here. And you can see that there's 3 triangles. Okay, and a triangle, 180, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So we have 5 minus 2, right? That gives us 3 times 180. And if you do your math correctly, 3 times 180 will give you 540. But we're not looking at the total amount. We want to find out what n is. This is what we're trying to figure out. What is n? And so we're going to set up an equation. Let's go ahead and bring our 540 down here like we did before. Put the equal sign down here. And then we're going to go ahead and put the n here. N plus something equals 540. Well, what is that something? Well, we have to add all of these numbers together. And if you add them up correctly, you should come out with 395. You can double check 395. And then the next question we have to ask ourselves is, what is our like terms? Well, our like terms to be a 395 and a 540. We're going to make this negative 395. Put this on the side, make it negative 395. Cross this out. Then we have this will be 4. So it'll be 14, make that 13, make this 10. So we have 5, we have 4, and then we have a 1. So we have 145 degrees. And so that is our final answer. All right, so if you got 145 degrees, give yourself a round of applause. Yeah! All right, so that should do it. Let's see, one more. Okay, all right. Since you guys begging me, we'll give you one more. We'll give you one more. All right, so this will be our last challenge for the day. Go ahead and work this one out. All right, all right. Let's go ahead and check your answer to make sure you did it correctly. So the first thing you should have done is to classify the type of polygon we're dealing with. And so let's go ahead and let's count our sides first. Okay, so we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so that looks like 7 triangles, right? 9 is going to be a nonagon right here. 7 triangles. And so let's go ahead and this is 9 minus 2, right? The sides minus 2 times 180. Okay, so we're talking about 7 times 180. Let's go ahead and do that. So 7 goes in it. 7 times 0 is 0. 8 times 7 is 56. And 7 times 1 is 7 plus 5 will be 12. So that's 1260. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up our equation. So we'll put 1260 right here. Put the equal sign down here. And then we'll put, we're trying to figure out what A is. That's what we're trying to figure out, right? Right here. And so what we're going to say is we're going to say A plus, and we add all these up together, we should get 1,120. You can double check, but yeah, that's what I got. And then this is an equation. These are our like terms. Now we're going to move this 1120 and change it. All right, let's do our subtraction. 0, 4, 1. Looks like 140 degrees. So A equals 140 degrees. If you got that, give yourself a round of applause. All right, good job, students.